my biggest regret. But this one's a juicy one. Have you ever bought followers 2 centimeters dilated for like ever? First thing you do when you wake up is you go on social media and you're straight away checking into other people's lives instead of your own. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well. So today I'm doing a bit of a sit down video, another Q&A. I haven't done one in a little while, and I do like to be able to do more like sit down chit chat videos with you guys more often. I feel like we can connect, you know? So yeah, I do get asked a lot of questions pretty regularly, so I thought it'd be good if I do try and make a Q&A a regular thing on here, maybe every like 2 to 3 months or something like that. Anyways, so I asked you guys on my Instagram your questions. They're all different. So there's stuff like organization, you know, anxiety, mum life, fitness, food, my past weight loss, even tattoos, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna get stuck into it. I've got my cup of coffee, I'm in my upstairs lounge room, and it's just really quiet for once, which is great. Hopefully you can't hear the aircon because I have the aircon going. Anyways, let's get stuck into it with the first question. Where should we start? I don't know if I should just like dive right in the deep end or start with some more like lighter questions. How did you and your partner decide you were ready for kids? Did you feel pressure? Ryan and I, it's funny because I think Ryan was ready for kids a lot longer before I was. If you are new here, Ryan and I, we actually have been together since we were 17. We're now 30. We got married, I think at 23. Yeah, I was at 23. So when I look back now, we were actually pretty young, but because we'd been together for so long, we already had a house and everything. Like we both saved really hard, bought our first house together quite young. And it was just like the next step for us, obviously, to get married. And then, but I was pretty certain I wasn't going to have a child until I was 27. But then, I don't know, something kind of just clicked in me. Like Ryan was always like ready when I was, but something clicked in me one day where I was like, oh my God, like I want to have a baby. So yeah, for us, I didn't feel any pressure from parents, Ryan's parents. Like I never really felt like we had to. Maybe it was probably because of our age at the time. If you're someone who's feeling pressure to have babies and you're not ready for it, then just remember that you're the one who has to look after the baby. They don't. So just listen to what your gut wants you to do and your heart, and just don't worry about everyone else. What are your best tips for a successful marriage? I feel like, you know, every marriage and relationship has its ups and downs. Like Ryan and I in the past have definitely had our ups and our downs. But I think for us, the one times we kind of felt like we were like struggling was when we weren't like communicating with each other or making sure we made time to be with each other. That's definitely, I feel like the times like when we're not feeling connected is when, you know, one can potentially get snappy, or it's just because you just need to communicate. So yeah, definitely communication. I think Ryan and I too have always been like best friends as well. Like we can have a laugh with each other. We're definitely not serious. You guys would know that. We're always joking with each other. We give each other shit because that's just our relationship. We're both very playful people, and it's cool because I think for me, like someone with anxiety, I really love that he's so relaxed and down to earth, and he really levels out my anxiety. That was one of the main things I remember being attracted to with him, is because, you know, my childhood was very chaotic, which might talk about in another video, but it's very chaotic. You know, like I've got a severely disabled brother. You know, our family had a lot of stresses on us, all of us. And, you know, there's a lot of things I'm trying to like work through with that. But I think, you know, being brought up in such a chaotic household, I craved that calmness, that, you know, just feeling relaxed around certain people. So when I met Ryan, and he was this really, you know, Aussie typical bloke, but he was just so relaxed and laid back, and his attitude was like, it's fine, like it's all right, it's gonna be all right. So that really did attract me to him, and that really helped with me and my anxiety. Like, yeah, anyway, I hope that made sense. I don't know if I answered the question. I think I went on a tangent, but yeah, definitely like have fun with each other, communicate, and you just need to make sure that you both do schedule that time just to be together. How's the tattoo removal going? I haven't actually spoken about this for a while, and I will link, I did a tattoo removal vlog, which I'll link below, which shows, I'll show it in this video too, but my tattoos before and now. So I've been getting pick away laser to remove my tattoos. I think I'm getting 4 removed, maybe 5, I can't remember. But yeah, in my like early 20s, and like when I was 18, I went and got tattoos because I could. And like they all kind of had meanings to them, but I just don't like the style of the tattoo. They're all very bold and dark and bulky, and it's not me. So started getting tattoo removal, and it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot more than getting the actual tattoo. But yeah, I think I've had like 6 sessions now, and they're going really, really well. I'll quickly show you some. So I've got this one. There's that one. You can see it's only little bits left. And then there's this one was really, really, really dark. But that's fading really nicely. You can see that was my biggest one and my biggest regret. But this one does hold quite a good story. It was which I'll go into a bit later because I have a question on it, my past weight loss when I lost 25 kilos. I got this at the start of that journey, and it says she turned her can'ts into cans and her dreams into plans. And I still love that saying, but I just wish I didn't get it tattooed on my forearm that big. I got a key on my bicep, which you can't even see anymore. Isn't that awesome? It was right there. It was right there and you literally cannot see it. But that one faded amazingly. And there's also, I had butterflies on my back. You can see that. So I had butterflies there, which are fading awesome. Yeah, so they're going really, really well. I will link you guys to where I go below. It's Danielle at Clean Canvas. She's amazing. And yeah, there's different types of lasers, so make sure you do your research and 100% go pick away laser, because it actually is like less downtime. It won't scar like the Q-switch lasers do and stuff. I'll do a proper updated video for you guys, like of me going to the appointment too. So if you're interested in tattoo removal, I will do that in the next like month. Well, this one's a juicy one. Have you ever bought followers? 100% no, and I never will. For me, it was always about quality over quantity, and I just feel like, I don't know, I feel really proud sometimes looking back, like, and it's not about the number, but I like knowing that I've literally built this community from nothing. I started the Instagram page and the blog when Harper was maybe 2 months old. I have a journalism background at uni. I just love to write. I was going through postnatal depression at the time, and I just really needed to connect with some people and like wanted to do something for myself, especially because at that time I didn't have any mum friends. So yeah, I definitely do not buy followers. Just be yourself, turn up online if you want to connect with other people, especially like if you are an influencer or a brand. It's actually illegal to buy followers and then, promote things on your platform, because that is like fraud basically. So don't do that. Just be yourself. I've always said I would rather have 20 loyal followers than 20,000 followers that don't really give a shit. So yes, don't buy followers. It's not worth it. Just keep turning up online. Be yourself and just, do your own thing. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just do your own thing. Did you find it difficult going from 1 child to 2? How did you juggle it all? I definitely, for me personally, going from no children to 1 child was the hardest. I think that was the biggest shock to the system. When I had Willow, our circumstances were a bit intense. If you haven't read my Willow's birth story, I'll link it below. Trigger warning, it was, a bit full on. Obviously we're fine, I'm fine, thank goodness. We were so lucky, but the way Willow entered this world was very, traumatic. It was intense, very intense for Ryan, for me, for everyone. So Willow came at 37 weeks and Harper was actually due to get her grommets in. So Harper was only 20 months old, she was still a baby herself, basically, and it was her first surgery. So Willow's obviously come early at 37 weeks, and then 1 week later, Harper had to go have her first surgery. So those few weeks were tough. Like, we had a really tough time, especially for me. Like, I wanted to be at the hospital with Harper for her surgery, but obviously I've just had a newborn. She was early, and we were just lucky that she was okay. So I was really torn. I had so much mum guilt. I had postnatal depression. It makes me want to cry even thinking about it because it was such a hard time. And yeah, Ryan really was my rock. And I think with you know, my postnatal depression, because it was my second time I've had it, I knew straight away, go to the doctor, make sure, you know, my anxiety meds are like at the right dose for me and stuff like that. And then Willow, sorry, I shouldn't even laugh because it was like the worst time, but sometimes like you have to laugh instead of crying. Harper had a surgery, it all went well. And then Willow got really, really sick, and then she was in hospital at like 2 weeks old. So she was technically only like 39 weeks really, because she came early. And that was really traumatic. And then I was in the hospital with Willow. So I felt like for that whole first month of Willow's life, I felt like I wasn't really with Harper as much as I wanted to be. So that was really hard as a mum. But Ryan reminded me, he's like, you know, Harper's not going to remember these few weeks of her whole life where her mum, you know, had to look after her little sister. And he's like, you know, if you told Harper when she becomes older what happened, she wouldn't resent you for that. And it's so true. Like, I think we're so hard on ourselves, and we think that our children are going to remember the first couple of months of their little ones, like their little siblings' life. And they're not going to remember that. And some little things that help me too with this is to help with that mum guilt. Every day, Ryan and I would organise for even half an hour where I'd feed Willow, so the baby, Ryan would look after Willow, and then I would just be with Harper, if that's just playing like puzzles or doing something, just concentrating on Harper. And giving her like my undivided attention. That helps a lot, and that really did help my mum guilt too, and it gave me like that, I don't know, connection that I really needed to keep going with Harper. But it is tough, but the thing is, once you see your kids like having their own bond, like, it is absolutely magical. It is the best feeling ever. So yeah, anyway, sorry for getting emotional, but yeah, so how I coped was, yeah, just really making sure I had that one-on-one time with Harper. Also, when Harper met Willow at hospital, we had a big sister present ready for her, stuff like that. But yes, anyway, I hope that answered the question. I feel like I'm really bad at this because I get distracted. That kind of leads on to this question, which is, how was your birth experiences with your girls? So Harper, who is nearly 5 now, her birth was, I guess it was pretty good. I had gestational diabetes with Harper's pregnancy, and we knew that from like straight away. So I had to do finger pricking from the very, very get-go, which was a pain in the ass. It really made me feel for those who have diabetes. Like, I could not imagine that. So that really, like, my heart goes out to those who have diabetes. Anyway, and then I had to go on insulin. So I had to inject myself with insulin in the 3rd trimester because my fasting levels were too high. Anyways, there's obviously like a rule. If you have gestational diabetes, they don't really like to let you go over a certain amount of weeks, which kind of sucks. So I had to be induced. I think I was at like 2 centimeters dilated for like ever. And then somehow in the last half an hour, I went from like 2 centimeters to 10. Whew, that was intense. So anyway, so I had Harper vaginally. She came out, she was like amazing, breastfed her, like she was such a little trooper. So her birth was, you know, well, compared to Willow's, it was good. You know, there was nothing wrong, you know, pretty good. Willow's birth is probably something I wouldn't want to like, I'd have to probably have a separate video on, and I'd have to have like trigger warnings and stuff. But basically Willow's birth was really intense. Again, I'll put the blog below if you do want to read about it. It's something I do think I need to get therapy for. I think a lot of mums, you know, who go through traumatic births and stuff, do really need to acknowledge that we've gone through some trauma, because you can get PTSD and stuff like that. And I think that's also maybe one of the reasons why I'm not too sure if I'd want to have another baby. But anyways, that happened. I had a placenta abruption with Willow at Kmart. That was, of course, Kmart. I was literally looking at containers. It happened unexpectedly. There was a lot of blood. It was scary. But at the end of the day, you know, Willow, I had an emergency C-section. Willow was like 2.4 kilos. She was tiny and she was such a trooper. And it really does it really shows how strong she is, because she was 2.4 kilos. She had this really, really traumatic birth. Like, everything that could go wrong nearly did, or basically did. And now she's like this like little robust little toddler, and she just, I don't know, she's like such a fighter. And it really is, that's like her personality. She's a very strong little girl. So yeah, it makes me very proud. How long did it take you to lose the 25 kilos and how? So I've done an actual full in-depth video of this already, which I'll link below, which pretty much I'd take you back to my childhood, you know, kind of how I got to be where I was. I was very much like Harper. I was very, very skinny growing up. I could eat what I wanted. I was very awkward, you know, just like I was the kid at school that would get hit in the head with a ball and I wasn't even playing. Like that's who I was. Anyway, but then like with my anxiety and stuff, which I didn't realize at the time, I'd try and like numb it out. So as I got older, I started like binge eating and just ate crap. Then I started drinking, like a lot of drinking on the weekends. And then I gained 25 kilos in a year. I was with Ryan at the time, obviously, because we've been together since we were 17. He never really noticed, and I don't think I noticed until, oh yeah, I was at makeup school and someone took a photo of me, and I think that was like a massive eye-opening experience for me because I looked at the photo and I did not even recognize myself. And it's not about the scales or the weight necessarily, but it was because my health was horrendous. So I have sleep apnea. That was really bad at that time. I had chronic headaches, fatigue. I was so depressed. Like I just didn't really have like a purpose. And I knew from like, as soon as I saw that photo at makeup school, I just knew I had to go home and join the gym and just stop eating shit. So I literally just cut out processed foods. And I knew for me, if I didn't make it sustainable, that it was just going to be another fad diet that I would do. Because I had done those before and I have gone to the gym before, but I would never stick to things. So I knew if I did it as like an overall lifestyle change, and people laughed at me when I used to say like it's an actual lifestyle change. I'm not on a diet, I'm experiencing a lifestyle change, and this is for the long term. Even my dad, he still laughs about it, but it was just something like I had to do. And I knew if I kept going the way I was going, it was not going to end well for anyone. Like even Ryan and my relationship, it suffered, and I just wasn't happy. And I'm like, how am I supposed to be happy with someone else if I'm not happy within myself? So sorry about the missing nails, by the way. So all I did was I literally would Google healthy recipes. I stopped eating processed foods, and I just really like focused on my portion sizes. So before I even started, I'd have 2 big meals a day, which was usually McDonald's and then some other form of takeaway. And then on the weekends, I would drink myself stupid. But yeah, and then I went to the gym 3 times a week. I didn't want to do any more than that because I knew if I did it too much, I would start hating it. And 100% I was anxious, self-conscious and scared. But when I went to the gym, I put my tunnel vision on because I knew how badly I wanted to change my life. And that's what I went for. But yeah, I'll give you guys a link below. But I think I lost the 25 kilos in 6 months, which sounds crazy, but honestly, it wasn't like anything. It wasn't a strict diet or anything like that. I just literally cut out the crap and moved my body. Because I think we do tend to overcomplicate things. And sometimes we do that as humans because we're just too scared. We're like scared we're going to fail, so we don't even try. But it's one step at a time, and don't look at the whole. If you're someone trying to lose a big amount of weight, do not look at like how much you need to lose. You need to look at setting fitness goals of how you want to feel. Because when you start focusing on how you want to feel, that's when the magic happens, and your body will start to change anyway. Think about like, I want to be able to do 15 push-ups, or I want to be able to squat 50 kilos or whatever. I want to run 2K, 5K. Focus on those things and just eating good food, and it will change your life. Anyways, please, can you talk more about anxiety? I have panic attacks and I am scared to go to the GP. Now for me, in a sense, so with my anxiety, I've had anxiety ever since I can remember. So when I was little, I just remember I always explain my anxiety as I've got like something sitting on my chest. Like I feel really heavy and tight. And I always feel it, even now. Like I've always got anxiety. But for me, kind of luckily enough, a lot of the women in my family have anxiety. So my mum picked it up right away. And she's like, I think it was my first panic attack or anxiety attack when I was maybe in kindergarten. So I was in kindergarten, right? And I was having an anxiety attack about going to year 6. Because that's how much into the future I always think. Anyway, so mum, took me to a psychologist and pretty much got me the help I needed straight away. Definitely recommend, if you feel like your child is suffering from anxiety, get the book. It's called It. Not the scary clown It, it's a different It. And it really helps explain anxiety to younger people. It's a very good book. Even though I am only 30, I feel like I do have a lot of experience with anxiety because I've kind of always known I've had it, and I'm not ashamed of it. I've never been ashamed of having anxiety. I went on anxiety meds when I was about, I think it was actually before I even lost the weight, because that's when I was at my worst too with anxiety. I think I was 21, so nearly 10 years now. And that was just for me, like I obviously did counseling, years and years of going to psychologists and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, that was just what I needed personally. If you can cope through other ways and other methods, 100% that's great. But for me personally, I needed medication, and I'm not ashamed of that. But if you're really scared to go to your GP, just maybe think, is your GP, your current GP, is that the right GP for you? I just said GP like 10 times. You would be so shocked how many people a day would go to your GP with anxiety or depression. Having a mental illness is just like when you're sick. You go to the doctors, you get antibiotics or whatever. If you have a mental illness, you go to a professional and you learn methods. And if you need medication, you need medication. So just honestly reach out to a professional. The longer you hold off, the longer you're just gonna have to suffer by yourself, and that's not how you should be living your life. Don't be afraid and don't be ashamed at all. It is very, very common, especially in the society we're in now. We are consuming so much information daily. We are always exposing ourselves to everybody else's lives. Like when you think about it, the first thing you do when you wake up is you go on social media and you're pretty much straight away checking into other people's lives instead of your own. Like no wonder we're all anxious. So I think just really being conscious of your habits, what you're reading, who you're with, what you're like, all that type of thing. For me personally, my anxiety, obviously I've got medication, but my big things to help me are exercise, number one, which is funny because 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die because I was so unfit and I like didn't like exercise. And now if you view things differently, like it's insane. So now exercise is like my me time. I absolutely love it. And if you don't like going to the gym, go hiking or do something else, go for a walk. So yeah, exercise, meditation and journaling, they help me so much. And obviously just being able to connect, making sure I'm connecting with Ryan regularly, that's a big thing for me as well. Where to start with cleaning, decluttering, organizing when you feel you just want a skip bin? That's fair enough. I know wanting to like organize and declutter your whole home can be super overwhelming. I talk about this a lot, but basically with this, I don't want you to think of the whole picture. I don't want you to think of the whole house. I want you to think of that drawer, that cupboard. And that's why, as I've said in so many other videos, is why you do the 30-day declutter challenge. It is literally making you focus on a small part of your home each day. Because when you think about it, you know, you'll see these Netflix shows where they overhaul the house in one weekend, and that's not usually possible for us, especially in terms of time. You've got kids, you've got to work. And at the end of the day, like, that would be exhausting. So I think for most of us, especially as mums, you need to really concentrate. Just literally spend 5 minutes a day and choose start in one room and do like one little section of that room a day. And then within a couple to a few months, your whole house will be done. But the one thing I really want to stress too is you need to make sure you're decluttering effectively. So you need to make sure you're really thinking about what you're hanging on to and if it actually serves a purpose in your life. Because a lot of us hang on to stuff for no reason, and more stuff equals more mess. So definitely declutter. I'm always decluttering, especially like high traffic areas in your home, like the kitchen, the entryway, the junk drawer. Those types of areas need to be decluttered a lot. So just make sure you're always decluttering. It just becomes like a practice. It's like a lifestyle change that I was talking about. So when you want to get fit and healthy, you need to make sure it's a full lifestyle change. So you don't just do it once and then you stay fit and healthy. It's something you got to work out every single day. And that's the same with having, you know, an organized house. It's something, you know, if you see a bit of clutter, quickly go through it and get rid of stuff you don't want. Donate stuff. But yeah, definitely do a declutter and don't look at the whole picture. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. There's so many more questions I wanted to answer, but I didn't want this to go for forever. So yeah, if you want me to do more Q&As, leave them below. And yeah, one day I will go into my birth story a bit more and even to like my postnatal depression experience. But yes, please let me know if that's something that you guys would like to hear about. I hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you next week. Bye.